Senior political analyst Brett Hume joins us now. Good evening, Brett. Your thoughts on that House Intel Committee hearing and all the things that came out of it?
Well, I think the Democrats got a talking point out of it that they're going to will be using and having a field day with for a while. That being, of course, the fact that there is now an open FBI investigation dating back to July, actually, into whether there was collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians in their efforts to influence the election. There's still no real evidence that such collusion existed, but the mere fact of an FBI investigation will keep this story in the headlines for some time to come and give Democrats something to talk about.
And you know, we've often
we can expect that.
We've often talked, Britt, about the questioning in these hearings and how it kind of meanders, and congressmen seem to want their time in the spotlight. Your thought on how that went on both sides today?
Well, what you had was an interesting phenomenon. There were a whole bunch of questions that were asked that the members asking them certainly knew that the FBI director and the NSA director couldn't possibly answer. But they asked the questions for the purpose of getting the premises of the questions, the allegations or the claims that were contained in the questions, into the record. And so they did that again and again. I noticed even that the ranking member, Mr. Schiff from California, even dragged out the old idea that it's been around for a while that there was a softening of a plank that was inimical to Russia that was in the Republican platform. The reporting on that has been that actually during the Republican convention that plank in the platform was actually toughened, but they're still working on that idea anyway. So there was a lot of that going on, and it is very much of a piece with the hearings that I've covered over the years for a long time. Yeah,
it seemed like Representative Schiff and Representative Gowdy were their respective point people on the questioning. What about the fact that this has been a definitive, conclusive, it seems, answer on the Wiretap tweet, both from the FBI director and the director of the NSA, and yet the White House says, you know, it's not all finished yet?
Well, what we have here is another instance where there's simply no evidence to support the allegation that the president made that President Obama had him wiretapped or surveilled, if you want to use the broader term that the president now prefers. And as long as that's the case, I think it's a continuing embarrassment and a source of friction with the White House and the rest of Washington, and indeed possibly the rest of the country. And moreover, we only heard the possibility that there might be an investigation by the FBI into that matter, which I think is nobody seems to think that's really happening. And so if there's evidence of this, I don't know where it's going to come from. And so far, obviously, we haven't seen any.
Yeah, and on the flip side, the investigation into the leak, it looks like there is a pretty small group of people that potentially could be leaking the information of Michael Flynn's name as one of the people caught up in whatever surveillance there was.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, Brett, that of all these concurrent inquiries that are going on and allegations, the one instance where we know to an almost certainty that a crime was committed was in the leak of Mike Flynn's name when he was apparently picked up in an intercept of a phone call or a conversation with some Russian or some other foreign official, in which apparently it was the Russian ambassador, in which his name came out. And when that happens, the name of the American that's caught up in something like that is never supposed to be disclosed except under extraordinary circumstances. And it happened here, and it's pretty clear it was a crime, and that so far is the only crime that has been established in all of this, and there appears to be, you know, an investigation into that as well. So we'll see how that turns out.
All right, Brett, as always, thank you.